Hello and welcome back to BritSciFi from the National Space Centre. It's just me. The red shirt worked. I got rid of him. I've sent him on an off-world mission. So we may never see Keith again, but, you know, no loss. So if the IT stuff goes terribly wrong, it's his fault as well. So this one's a live session, so thank you for everybody for joining us. And we have two fantastic guests from our friends over at Fantom Publishing. So we're going to talk to Toby and Paul, but don't forget, do drop your questions into the comments section and we will put them live to both of our guests. So without further ado, hello to you both. How are you?
Hello.
Hello.
From what this looks to me like the opening titles of Dynasty or Dallas.
I need bigger shoulder pads.
Oh, Bagsy Kato Mara. Or am I getting the wrong one? I'm getting the right one.
No, that was that was Dynasty. The Colbys.
Yeah. I don't know. There was Falcon Crest. There was all kinds of spin-offs, weren't there?
I'm more Howard's Way.
Crest was a different universe, but let's not get into that.
Fantastic. Well, there you go. Right, that's it. You've got it. It will all change. It will all change in a moment. Thank you very much for joining us. No, you're going to make people feel ill if you keep moving around.
Is the Howard's Way thing? I'm at sea.
I'm going to just stick with the rum. That'll be fine. Thank you very much for joining us. And we do have a special thing happening. So we're going to give a prize away, I believe, for the best question.
We are. Look, in true Saturday Superstore way, look, and I'm even going to pile them so that they're in the frame.
Oh, it's two.
It's two.
Wow.
I mean,
are you sure?
Anyone can give away one.
Yeah, but don't forget what we used to get on Saturday Swap Shop when Matt Bianco was on. Somebody rang in and said something.
What a 5-star moment, yeah.
Let's hope we
I'm
don't.
more of a going live guy.
Ah, okay.
Just don't look it. Yeah, so but basically what these are, we have got, oh, look at this, I can't even do the camera work. This is Warriors of the Deep, and this is Sontaha. I mean, we'll explain what Who Talk is in the commentary situation probably afterwards, but you could win something before you know what it is, which is incredible.
Well,
so you could win these. I mean, what's not to love about winning something anyway? I mean, even if it's naff, it's not cost you anything, has it?
Well, I can't mention it, but today we're in Leicester and there's some kind of soccer ball thing going on later. So I'm very much hoping that we win that because obviously we're very proud to be in Leicester. But I would very much like to win the Sontar after speaking to the lovely Dan Starkey, who is fabulous.
It's very funny. And a very wise man.
He is a very, very wise man. But yeah, you have said, let's talk a little bit about what is Who Talk and what can people see from Fantom Publishing. So, Paul, do you want to do just a brief introduction maybe, or do you want to grab it, Toby?
Well, Paul better had us. It's his company.
That's the right answer.
I'm just the totty, love.
He's the highest glamour.
Lovely totty.
Who Talk. Basically, what Who Talk is, I'll keep saying because that's very eloquent. We had a situation where we were meant to be recording an audio drama. Fantom does a lot of audio books, audio dramas, and at the last moment, the audio production fell through. And something we discussed for quite some time was doing independent commentaries. Some of the stories, especially early stories on BBC DVDs, you didn't have a wide variety of names, and there were some episodes where there were no commentaries at all. At that point, there was nothing on the Web of Fear or Enemy of the World, and quite a few sort of early Hartnell, Troughton sort of orphan episodes. So, with very little time, it was a case of getting on the phone to Deborah Watling, just saying, can you come and save our butts and come and do this commentary thing? She's like, I don't know what you're talking about, but it's you guys, I'm there. And then obviously Toby was our first choice. I'm not going to pretend. Toby was our first choice to come and moderate these because he is Mr. Commentary, I think.
Are you Mr. Commentary, Toby?
Well, it's official now, isn't it? I think. Well, I think I'm not very good at saying no. For me, it's an honour to sit with the people that made Doctor Who and watch Doctor Who with them. And but Paul's very kind and seems to like me doing it, Paul and Dexter, and I always like working with Paul and Dexter. This is the first time I have seen Paul's lovely chest for, I mean, you forget what you've missed in lockdown. I mean, the fresh air, the intimacy of social interaction, the quirk of a smile from a stranger on a bus, and Paul Ballard's marvelous chest. And so we hook up at fairly regular intervals in a bunker in an undisclosed location with we try and get people who've either, we always talk about who we'd like and maybe who hasn't been interviewed before and things like that. And we gather a load of people together and watch Doctor Who all day. I mean, I'm not going to say no to that, am I?
I mean, who would say no to that? The idea that you can sit around and watch and talk to these icons is just a fantastic idea. Especially
if they can remember doing it, which isn't always a guarantee, but...
Yeah, we started off very much doing the 60s ones, which, I mean, I can't really remember last week with great clarity. So when you're like, do you remember recording this 55 years ago for a week? Do you? I can understand that it might not be the clearest thing you're ever going to get in the world. But we mentioned Dan Starkey before and the Son to Half. We have broached onto sort of new things because as people have responded well to them, we've gone back to stories which we weren't going to do, but we have sort of gone on to because we can get new names, new stories. But we have gone into the new series now because actually, I mean, as horrific as it sounds, something like Chris Eccleston's first season sort of 15, 16 years ago now, and it's like, oh, we are all aging, but new series is old, isn't it?
I'm sorry, it was just the way you said Christopher Eccleston that long ago. It's like, it feels like yesterday.
And the great thing is, because I mean, obviously at the time there was a lot of coverage and people were saying a lot of things, but there's nothing quite like that sort of period of time where you haven't got to toe the line necessarily with how the PR system ran at the time. And if you've got your own opinion on something, then you can be a bit more forthright because this isn't a BBC thing. So if you don't want to say nice things about it, which isn't saying it's a negative entity, but if you didn't enjoy everything or you have opinions on things, these are a good forum, I think, to go with that.
Yeah, no, I absolutely know what you're talking about there. I mean, we've spoken to guests at events, and they have had opinions about the way they were treated or the relationships they had with other people. We all have those issues, so it's just the fact that people talk about them is a fascinating insight, and I certainly think for the fans, knowing or hearing those stories takes it to that next level. Paul, behind you there are some books as well, so I'm assuming Fantom has a background in some fantastic stories of people that the fans will know and love across all of the different stories. It's not just Who, is it?
No, it isn't just Who. There's I'm suddenly thrown on the spot here to think what we've published. We do different things all the time, different bit. Jacqueline, where did that come from?
We have a collection.
like the Blake 7 transporter thing.
Yeah, it did. There we go.
I mean, the hilarious thing that I'll tell you, and I'll have to clean up the anecdote because it's a Jacqueline Pearce one and it's going to have language on it. But Dexter and I did a book signing tour with Jacqueline to promote the thing at the time. And neither of us actually watched Blake 7. Neither of us are Blake 7 fans. And Jacqueline sort of sat, she goes, oh, have you seen Blake 7? And we just said, do you know what? We haven't. She went, oh, darling, that's amazing, because it's fucking awful, and started laughing.
I love her honesty.
Yeah, I mean, opinions may vary. I'm sure it's lovely and it's got its fans. But yeah, we do lots of different. We've got one that's sort of leaked this week. Is we've got a couple of books coming out with David Rennick, One Foot in the Grave, which is very exciting. We've got a Morecambe and Wise book that's not long come out. We do all sorts of different, genres, and it's if someone's got a good story to tell, we'll roll with it. Peter Vaughan,
Yeah.
Catherine Schell.
Catherine Schell. They're sort of iconic people, and you see, if I was getting my high horse, I think if you go to Tesco and look at the top 10, it's people who haven't had lives selling books. If you Gemma Collins, I'm sure she's lovely. What has she got? What has she got to tell us? You know, these people have lived lives, they've had experiences, there's stories to tell, and it's a privilege to actually record those for future generations, I think, which is essentially what the commentaries come to. I think the Who Talk thing is recording the stories. Doctor Who, it's lovely to have the anecdotes from the leads and the guest leads, which we do feature on the range, but these also shine a light on the floor managers, the writers, the people who are so unsung but have got such a big part in, you know, the success of the show.
Brilliant. And you brought us back beautifully to Who Talk there, and we've got questions coming in. So one for you, Toby. So remember, you chaps will be choosing who you think asked the best question. So just remember the questions at the end. No pressure. Toby, is there a person from Doctor Who that you would like to have interviewed that haven't already?
Oh, yes. I mean, basically, name anyone who's dead, and it's a great failure of my life that I never spoke to them. For me, I have sort of spent much of my life going around accruing people in order that, because it's important to me. I felt that, because a lot of the people I've interviewed, you know, we spend 5 minutes on Doctor Who, and this happens with the Who Talk sometimes. You know, if we're doing a 6-episode story, by the time we get to episode 4, you suddenly go, well, let's talk about some other aspects of, you know, your career and rep, and you get a sort of oral history of the entertainment industry, and I think that's going to prove to be increasingly more valuable as we have fewer sort of authentic voices from the 60s and now even the 70s. I mean, I think of Robots of Death as relatively recent, and we did a great commentary on that, but actually, I mean, 2 cast members and the special effects man from that show have all died in the last 12-15 months or so. But in terms of I mean, I would love to. I never met Patrick Troughton. That is a great I wrote letters to him several times that I never sent, because I think I lived in the countryside in the middle of nowhere and didn't believe that anybody would post anything back to the sticks of Shropshire. So and Patrick Troughton is a doctor that I absolutely love. But I also like the. I'd have loved to have interviewed. I tried so hard to interview Pat Gorman, who is like the Where's Wally of Doctor Who. I think he's got more credits than pretty much anybody else. I think Tom Baker may have done more episodes, and maybe Fraser Hines and Nicholas Courtney, but there aren't many that hold a candle to Pat Gorman, who I think his first credit is Dalek Invasion of Earth, and his last one is Attack of the Cybermen, and he's in loads of stories in between, and he was a very reliable supporting artiste / 2 lines here and there / monster actor. He wasn't a stuntman, despite what it says in recent issue of Doctor Who magazine. Actually, when I was getting divorced, I went to stay with a friend and discovered that Pat Gorman lived literally 3 roads away. And I thought, this is fate. We're gonna and I walked past where he lived, and I wrote to him a couple of times. And only after he died, and he died about 18 months ago, and I got in touch with his wife, who put me onto his daughter, his widow put me onto his daughter. We had a chat, and she said, "Oh no, he was fine," and he sent signed photos back and stuff like that. So he wasn't grumpy about it. He just didn't feel he was a great interview. He didn't really feel that he would be good value talking about it. Of course, we'd have loved to, and that's what happens with a lot of these people is they go, "Oh well, I don't remember anything, and I'm not very interesting." And then you talk to them, and they remember loads, and they're really interesting. But Pat Gorman was a legend of Doctor Who, so I think he's on my. Because he was one I'd never had a chance with Troughton, but Pat Gorman I was in spitting distance with. Anyone called Patrick, basically, involved.
I've got a friend called Patrick. He's a chef, but I don't think he'd be very good.
I'll interview him. It's fine. I've interviewed everybody.
Yeah, be fine. I think somebody that had that many experiences on set as a supporting artiste would been brilliant to chat to, and they would have had so many great stories. So yeah, I can see exactly where you're coming from for that. Loads of questions coming in. Everybody wants to win this prize. So we'll go down to the next one. So Alison wants to know, obviously Curse of Fenric is the best Doctor Who story ever. What, in your opinion, is the second best? So, Paul, do you want to grab that one?
Oh,
Well, we'll come to Toby as well.
Okay, right. Bizarrely, one of the things we've started doing as Fantom on our YouTubes, we've been doing season reviews. And this week we've been doing comedy specials, and one of the ones I've given the best ratings to of anything is Dimensions in Time. So I don't know whether my opinion is particularly valid on any form of anything. My actual real favourite, I actually do love Curse of Fenric, and we've got a commentary in the works on that. We were halfway through it before the world went crazy. So keep your eyes peeled, because that will be coming. That's quite a cool one. We've done a commentary on it. My all-time favourite Doctor Who story is City of Death. It's just glorious. I don't think there is anything I could dislike about that story.
Brilliant, good choice. How about you, Toby? And we have started a small war in the comments section, it must be said, at this point where people are coming in with what their second best is. So we'll go through those. But how about you, Toby?
Well, I mean, Curse of Fenric is a good call, and there is much to love about it. And I loved it at the time, and I love it now. And I loved it at a time when I was quite cross about Doctor Who, because I was at the age where you get quite cross about Doctor Who. And even then I still loved it. And there are stories I was very cross about at that time that I've learnt to love, whereas I always loved Curse of Fenric. The second best Doctor Who story in that case, I'll tell you what, it rotates for me so often, and it depends what sort of mood I'm in. But and I would normally probably choose something from the Philip Hinchcliffe, Robert Holmes, Tom Baker at his at the height of his powers sort of period. But today, because I changed like the wind, I'm going to choose the Ambassadors of Death, which I great underrated story.
I would have put my money on you saying Ambassadors of Death before you said it.
Yeah, it's great. I love the Ambassadors of Death. It's got a couple of brilliant villains, superbly directed. The way it does the title, I mean, you had me at the Ambassadors of Death. I mean, it's got a cliffhanger at the beginning, and because I'd been led to believe in all the wisdom of when I was growing up we only had a couple of clunkers, Invasion of the Dinosaurs, which also and Ambassadors of Death, and been led to believe Ambassadors of Death was just this sort of rather muddled thing that nobody liked. And then I watched it and went, this is amazing. And so I've always had a soft spot for the Ambassadors of Death.
I may be slightly biased, but yeah, definitely Ambassadors of Death. Sorry.
May Santa.
Exactly.
Dramatic.
So yeah, good choice. Although Dexter said Dragonfire.
He's just being controversial. I know where he's at. I know where he's at on that one.
Oh, there's loads of people now. So everyone knows Space Pirates is the second best Doctor Who. And there's various other ones coming up. But yeah, you go. Good one, Toby. I love Ambassadors too. Dexter's not stopping. The Mutants.
No, he won't. Block and report. It's easier.
Oh, okay. And Jason says Night of the Doctor. So lots and lots and lots of choices coming in there. But let's grab a question from Jason, because he's asked a question earlier. So question for the lovely Paul and Toby. Which of the Who Talk releases have been personal favourites for you? For what reasons? Paul, do you want to pick up first and then we'll ask Toby? Or Toby, do you want to go?
Well, I've got an answer straight away.
Okay, so, Toby, it's yours.
I would say, and again, because it's not from an era I would have thought would be, but I loved doing the Remembrance of the Daleks one. I think just because the team that we assembled were people who all got on very well. It's a story that I like, but actually watching it in the company, my appreciation of the story grew. I was going, well, I'm enjoying this commentary, but I'm also really enjoying this story, and that gets quite infectious. And I think it was just a good day. And as I say, I really like the people. I hadn't met any of them before, I don't think. And they were a very lovely bunch, and I learnt a few things, and I just thought the atmosphere was and the conversation flowed. And I just remember feeling we'd had a really good day that day, and also what we'd made was a really good listen. And also I always think it's nice when we provide something that the BBC DVD range, which I also work on. I didn't work on it at the time that Remembrance came out, when they've only got sort of one or two people across all of the episodes. And I think that one has Sylvester Sophie and the director Andrew Morgan. When we sort of plug a gap, if you like, for people who aren't featured on the DVD or who aren't on the commentary or whatever, I feel like we've plugged a gap too. So I think Remembrance probably, and I've loved doing all of them, but I had a particularly good time doing Remembrance. Thank
you. And has that given you a bit of time to think about it, Paul?
It has. Actually, it's made things worse. I've got a little three-way tie here. I'm going to go through as quickly as I can here. Stones of Blood, because it is one of my all-time favourite stories. It's in my top 10. And actually, the gang that we assembled for that were great. And Darryl Blake, the director, is a great talker. He's incredible. And that's a great one. Even on the episode he has off, he was stood waving and sort of adding anecdotes because he's like, no, I've got a corrector on that in the next episode. So he was great. And that's a good one. Survival is a really great show because the guest cast on that are all still mates. So it is like watching it with your friends. It is just a laugh, and possibly the first one that gets swearing on. I think that might be the first one. I think Will Barton. Then it's open the floodgates. And actually, strangely back on brand, I would say that Warriors of the Deep is a really good one because sometimes if the story isn't so great, you're probably less inclined to sort of revisit it. And actually, the group of people we got that commentary and. Vincent Brimble, Mark Strix, and Tara, they are so positive. I mean, I don't think Tara can do anything that isn't incredibly positive. And I think if you don't come away from that feeling quite elated and wanting to watch Warriors of the Deep again, I don't know what's wrong with you.
And picking up on Stones of Blood, I have to say, considering you gave me one episode to interview Shirin Taylor, who is in that episode for, I think, 45 seconds, and I had to do the whole episode with her. I just have to say, that is an achievement that I think I will is a badge of honour. I will put on myself. She's literally in one scene in the middle of the episode.
That's why you'll miss the commentary, you see.
Yeah.
I can take someone who's on screen for 45 seconds and I can be sat there thinking, I'm sure she's on in a minute. She's on in a minute. I think, it's good. She's had a great career. And she's in Dexter's favourite story, Dragonfire.
Keep Dexter happy.
And actually, on the day she came to record, Tony Ozober from Dragonfire was babysitting her dog. The fact you can live with.
That's a great fact. You heard it here first, folks.
Tony Ozober, Tony Selby, and Shirin Taylor, all from the cast of Dragonfire, are all chums. It's a small ice planet.
That's a great WhatsApp group as well. Yeah. That's another one we want to be members of.
The Dragonfire Survivors group.
I think you mentioned there, Paul, it is listening to Who Talks and then going, do you know what? Let's go back and watch that. Let's go back and listen to that. Let's go back and... It is that great moment to revive the love and enjoyment of it all. So thanks for that.
Another prize moment was when we did the Three Doctors and Laurie Webb, who plays Mr. Ollis, who is now, I spoke to him earlier in lockdown, he's now, I think, just turned 96. Hadn't seen the Three Doctors. I took a photo of him watching it for the very first time, and the smile on his face, and he plays quite a taciturn character in the show, the sort of quiet gamekeeper type who doesn't say much, and he's actually a very ebullient, jolly Welshman. And Laurie, and he'd come quite a distance for him really to come, and he came and he embraced the whole process, and he just sat there with a big grin on his face going, this is marvellous. And I felt the fact that we'd sort of facilitated an old man having a really nice day and providing something, because he's not on any of the DVDs or anything, providing the fans with an interview with a really interesting guy at the same time. It was sort of like, we're not wasting our time here. It's great for us because we get to meet all these lovely people, but we're doing something nice for everybody involved. And I think that's rather lovely.
Yeah, I always love those moments. David Graham, when he comes to events and he's sort of sat there just going, how do these people know who I am? And and just amazed that there are still a massive fan group out there that adore him and worship him. And the IT guy who's just off screen here is my partner. He's still the highlight of his life is driving him to the station. He wanted to have a hat because he was sat in the back. So yeah, I mean, it would have been great to have Parker sat in the back of your car, I'm sure. But there we go.
He's got a Parker in his living room. That was the most amazing things when I popped round his house. I was like, he's got a Parker.
Well, Boba Fett had I went to Jeremy Bullock's house. He had all the Boba Fetts. Every single iteration of Boba Fett. He had a Boba Fett room.
Yeah.
He said, do you want to come up to the Boba Fett room?
It's the mezzanine. It was amazing with the statue and everything. Oh, yeah. Such lovely
David
people.
Jones Bell was a Thunderbird, but I actually said the company was called Thunderbird, and I thought, is someone taking the Wii now? I mean, that's a bit weird.
Have to buy everything that says Thunderbirds on it. It's the law. Right, back to the questions for the competition. So, Paul Philip Williams would like to know, question. The great thing about Who Talk is you get people telling stories that can't be on official releases. What's been your favourite revelation or story told to you in the studio? Can anybody think of one quickly, or no? Got to think of one?
I think saying quick and clean is the difficult part here, isn't it?
Yeah, it is daytime family.
I mean, a slight aside from that is we had a moment, and I wasn't sure if I was doing a very bad job on the Trial of a Time Lord when Michael Jaston and Colin Baker start talking about cricket. But actually, as a fan who's heard a lot of the Doctor Who stories and knows about the BBC turning off the lights at 10 o'clock, to actually hear two men whom I admire greatly and who, you want to know about these actors anyway, because they're the people who make the stuff that you love. To hear these two guys suddenly just quite organically start talking about their love for cricket, I thought, well, I thought that was something really different, and it was nice to be a part of something that was, I don't think it's ever going to be remembered as the best interview ever or whatever, but what it was it was slightly different, and it was very honest, and it's always, when you hear somebody being enthusiastic about something that they love, it's great. But if it happens to be Doctor Who and the Valiant talking about their shared love for cricket, I actually thought I was a bit on edge when we were doing it, and then I sort of thought about it afterwards. So I thought actually I'm glad we let that go, because it's a really nice sequence. It's not juicy or gossipy or anything, but it's really comfortable and nice. And hopefully that has brought Paul some time to remember the one about when a bandrill slept with an axe on or whatever. That didn't happen.
Don't cancel the axons.
No.
Yeah.
I think what I'd say on a sort of similar note there is that where the day we had Maureen O'Brien in, the first commentary did was a Web Planet one, and it was like 3 of them. The next one was sort of a Romans, I think it was. So when the last one came and it was just Maureen watching, we had 2 episodes I think, and one of them was her first episode, which she hadn't seen. It was great because I think she went into places that she perhaps wouldn't normally. She was, because it was a solo thing, and she'd had the sort of the chance to view it, and I think there was a lot more came through there. I think, and she was happy to talk about things that weren't entirely Doctor Who, but things that related to Doctor Who and sort of the effect it had on her family and the casting and stuff like that. So I think you do get just sometimes by pure chance, sometimes by design, you get exciting and new things because you're not pressing them to say, can you just stick to this bit here, this monster? It's just a conversation. And I say, Toby's amazing at keeping a conversation going and not having dead air and just talking to people as if they're people, rather than sort of shoehorning them into a sort of area to give an anecdote.
Yeah, there was a moment during the arc when we were with the actor Roy Spencer, who is obviously in his 80s now or whatever, and he was going, "Who's that?" And I was going, "That's you," because I think he'd got the wrong glasses, hadn't he? And then he turned to me at one point and he said, "So which one are you in this?" I was like, "I wasn't born for another 8 years, mate. I'm not here because I was one of your co-stars." But clearly time has not been as kind to me as I'd hoped.
I'm so glad the right glasses is always the thing for everybody.
He wanted his opera glasses, I think he said, or something of that nature.
Oh God, you must have such great fun doing this. I mean, obviously you're both fans, but the opportunity to have these conversations that go in the direction that that they just go naturally. It just sounds like you have great fun. What job satisfaction.
It's very exciting preparing for it, actually, when we sort of chat on Facebook and we'll go, oh, I've got in touch with so-and-so, and so-and-so might do it and remembers so-and-so fondly. So the fact that person's doing it, and that's as much of a part of it as well as the sort of, I'm lucky I don't have to do any of the jigsawing of making sure everybody's availability tallies. So I just get to go, oh, I'm going to meet Miss Kelly from the Seeds of Death, hooray. So that's, it is good fun, and especially as there are still people that for some reason haven't done events or weren't tracked down for the DVDs, and Paul is very good at finding under what in which nook and cranny of the universe a Vord might currently be skulking.
I like the idea that you know where the Vord are.
Yeah, you can see where the flippers stick out, but.
Right, back to some serious questions for the competition. So, Toby Sutton Long has asked, if you could do a Who talk on any programme or film that isn't Who, we'd have to rebrand it, what would it be and why?
Well, I mean, I'm lucky because I sort of got to do a commentary for the BBC Quatermass and the Pit, which is my favourite thing ever. But we did it slightly too late for there to really be many people left. And the John Mills Quatermass is in a pretty parlous state in terms of survivors. But I'm a big fan of Quatermass, and I wish somebody had sort of thought to do a commentary for the Blu-ray of that came out recently. So I wouldn't mind doing commentaries on any Quatermasses. There are still actually people you could get for Quatermass 2. So yeah, I'd love to have Quatermass commentaries. I'd have to be a bit more active though, I think, than I am in the Who Talks, in that I'd have to bring, I'd have to keep dispensing facts and things like that. So it'd be a bit more like a sort of scripted factathon with the odd guest. But we've done them like that before. But yeah, Quatermass for me. Paul?
The IT guy is nodding furiously. So yeah, Quatermass, he's very keen on that one.
You see that now, actually, that this is a really good question. See, now note this, it's a really good question, because actually just before lockdown sort of kicked in, all that, we were in the early stages of planning non-Who commentary stuff. So I don't want to give too much away too early, but actually the majority of stuff that we're looking at is comedy-based things, actually, because there's a lot of iconic comedy shows around.
Wasn't you that sent me that box of El Dorado DVDs then, Paul?
It's El Dorado and After Henry, but don't let anyone know. So there's a few classic comedies that we're looking at doing commentary tracks for, and also we've sort of discussed Jeremy Brett's Sherlock as a possibility. There's a few things that it would be nice to try. I mean, it's difficult. Doctor Who has a very set audience, and we know that people like these discs, and it works. So, but it's good to try new things, and we all like different shows and different things. And if nothing else, it'd be a laugh doing them. I mean, it could bankrupt us, but it'd be a laugh doing them.
Bankrupt? What's a bit of money between fans and friends?
Fine. You'd have the discs to keep you warm.
So Crossroads is overdue commentary tracks.
I can't believe he's trolling us.
Oh yeah.
To be fair, I would love a Crossroads. I mean, Jane Rossington would fill those discs. She would fill them.
Well, that is not such a silly idea. Jason's suggesting a low. You see a lot of the low cast at lots of events. So Toby's nodding. Yeah. So there's lots.
I know. Arthur Crabtree was in a radio play of mine. I know him. He's a lovely fella, and I bet would jump at the chance. Yeah, hello. Love a bit of hello.
There we go. Loads of things that.
Or you could get the hello cast to do a commentary on Secret Army, and get the Secret Army to do a commentary on hello.
Well, you see, the weird thing is when we went on Sontaha, just to clarify, we actually, for the first time ever, got a commentary track with someone who isn't in the story. Toby watches the Sontaran Experiment with Dan Starkey.
Well, and I also think some of the best. James Goss, I think, is an underused talent of Doctor Who in terms of broadcasting and commentating. Also, he's such a witty man, and he's such good company, and he's a brilliant writer. And Joe Lidster's really insightful and funny guy as well. So when you've had some of those guys in who've had writing gigs that have been tangential or something, and John Dorney came in and did some, and I actually wasn't sure, but when you said we're doing those, I was like, oh really? I actually thought, God, when we did them, I thought, God, this is so much better than spending 25 minutes with a mandrill, because they've got the fan experience as well, but they're very eloquent and erudite and witty and fun, and those ones I think have worked very very well. But also it's because they've been on discs with people who made the stuff as well, so it's been a nice mix.
Brilliant, thank you very much. I'm very much aware of the fact that we are running out of time very swiftly. So I've got a question here. We talked a bit about, sort of Jeremy Bulloch and various other names have been dropped into conversation. But have you ever worked with any of the icons that you have fanboyed over? Would you admit?
Is to fanboy a verb? And I mean, is there a physical manifestation of fanboying, or is it just a mode of behaviour, or is there some sort of? For
me, it was sweating profusely and stumbling over my words, but I don't know if that stands out from any other moment in my life, to be quite honest. I think there are people that you meet that, I mean, you've met so many amazing individuals, but there are people you meet that you are so excited to meet them that the moment becomes a little bit different. For me, there's been a couple.
Well, this is where I think we're very lucky, is because, and it's a bit like when I'm emceeing comedy clubs, which I've started to do more and more than doing sets, because when you do a set, you're just there to be funny, whereas when you're emceeing, you've got to tell people when the breaks are and to keep the voice down here and when to clap and all that. And so because when I tend to meet these people, it's a similar situation. Like when you're emceeing, you have a sort of job to do. And that means that any sort of sense of professionalism I might have overcomes the child within me, which if I was just to meet, say Tom Baker, for example, who was my Doctor Who. I mean, I'm still amazed that I've consorted with Tom Baker, that he knows my name. But fortunately, because I've had a job to hide behind, I like to think any fanboy secretions that may be leaking out have done so discreetly. But I mean, inside, I'm as nervous as chewing up inside. But I fortunately, I hope, unless Paul now says, yeah, we never asked you back to do that one because you tried to steal Bernard Kay's shoe and swab it for DNA, but I don't think I did.
See, that's why you are Mr. Commentary and you're the best one, because you are professional. So I've let the side down. I just let the side down.
I think it's funny because we've had Tom do quite a few events with us, and I think meeting Tom Baker is probably the closest you can get in the cosmos to meeting Doctor Who, because Tom Baker and the Doctor, I mean, it is literally, when he looks at you, there is that moment where you're like, it's Doctor Who. And I don't fall to the floor and weep over it, but Tom Baker and Doctor, he's the most,
No, I'm completely with you. I was very lucky to record a radio advert on behalf of the Space Centre with him. We went down to the studios and recorded it. And when he was doing his warm-up, I'm not going to say it on air because this is a family show and we are a family attraction. But the words that he used to warm his mouth up to so he could do all of the script was my ringtone for a while, because I was so excited that I had Tom Baker. I love and adore Tom Baker. He is such a nice person as well. So there you go. That's me fanboying, or fangirling. I lost it there. So we've had a few questions that have been for the competition. I don't know if you have remembered any of them, or if you can pick one that is your favourite to win your prize.
Toby asking about the new range, because that's a good promo point. I like that.
Asking about the new range. Where do we have that?
Very merciless of me.
Do we have a question? Oh, I'll go back and find it. It was the question about, oh, there we go. So Toby Sutton Long, if you could do a Who Talk on any programme, is that the one you'd like?
Yeah, I think so.
Cool.
Toby, you got to talk about Quatermass and things. That was a good opener, I think.
Some great market research as well.
Exactly. If there's any ranges that you want, put them in the comments. If there's anything specific.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, Toby, if you want to drop me or the National Space Centre, a PM with your postal address, we shall sort out your prize, which is fantastic. So before we go,
the House of Elliot box set. And the Yellow Thread Street collection before you know it.
That's August's recording sorted.
I'm just going to grab a quick comment here. It says, Paul says, I did hundreds of Crossroads commentaries, but then I realised it was all a daydream whilst I was stacking shelves at Lidl. Oh,
very, very meta.
Wobbly
shelves. That's a very, very good joke that requires you to have seen. That's very Paul. That joke took a lot of homework.
A lot of stay-at-home work, I think that is.
We've all done a lot of stay-at-home work. That's been the problem. So before we go, Paul, what can we look forward to coming up, or what should we be checking out, and where should we go?
Well, we've got two websites. There's fantomevents.co.uk or fantompublishing.co.uk. There's a couple more Who Talks coming out imminently. Plenty of books coming out. I've mentioned a couple earlier. Our events are rolling again. We're back in Chiswick monthly now, and our big Utopia events in July. We had a trip to the venue this week with some Cybermen, so keep an eye out for the pictures from that. So yeah, lots of positive, exciting stuff. It feels like the world's moving again, and it's quite exciting.
Yeah, the lineup for that event is looking immense. You just keep posting up saying confirmation of guests, and yeah, so very exciting for that one. But thank you for joining us. I hope you've had some fun, and you've seen each other, not in the flesh, but on the screen.
Oh yeah,
I've already seen a bit too much in my flesh. I feel like I'm on the wrong webcam.
Oops.
He's still my beating heart.
It has been absolutely fantastic. Huge thanks for taking time out of your day to join us for BritSciFi.
Thank you for asking us.
Very much so. It was great to talk to you. Everybody head on over to the website and find out more about all of the events. And we look forward to seeing you both very soon.
Thank you.
That was fantastic. The team from Fantom there. Do go over and check out their website, and a huge thanks for a prize for the question, and well done to Toby for winning that prize. Like I say, if you just drop me a PM to the National Space Centre's Facebook page with your address, we will sort out your prize being sent to you. We've got loads more stuff still to come. At 2:30 we are joined by Team Blake, who are going to do a guide to Blake 7, including fantastic tour of some original props and costumes. So if you're a Blake 7 fan, do rejoin us at 2:30. So you've got about 15 minutes. So it's time for another break. Do go and have a refreshment. We'll see you again in around 15 minutes. Thank you.